Thanks for listening to our podcast, Living Life with the Rogers. My name is Cameron.
And I'm Kira, and this is a lifestyle podcast where we talk about hashtag all the things. Listen in.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Living Life with the Rogers. Say hello, Kira.
Hey.
All right, so this is going to sound a little weird, but we are doing our podcast still in the closet, but with a special guest.
Welcome to our closet, Kurt. That's not weird.
Oh, you gave it away. Shoot.
What an honor to be here. Thank you. I can't say enough about how appreciative I'm, to be on this podcast with you two. It's just quite an honor.
Yeah, and he's actually sitting in Kira's side of the closet.
How do you feel about being surrounded by your sister-in-law's clothes?
I mean, I like the fur I'm sitting next to. I'm trying to figure out if it's like monk or some sort of like raccoon, maybe.
We're going to have PETA on us. You better watch it.
Yeah. So, how many times have you had three people in a closet before?
I mean, this is a big closet. Just for the record, it's a huge closet. So
it's going to be Delaney's bedroom, so fair enough. It's very big.
Like these poor people putting their kids in closets. Well, on that note, welcome to our closet and to our house, Kurt.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
So, we brought Kurt on today because we were talking about manly men. Feel free to say something manly there. That was your... There it is. There's a lot of testosterone in this closet.
Actually, I should get that tested, actually. It's been a while.
So let's talk about some current events, Kurt. What's on your mind? What are you feeling about men, the world, sports, fires, all that fun stuff?
You know what? There's a lot of pent-up energy in sports. You know, I was watching this last week. You got NASCAR and Eric Almirola against Bubba Wallace. You got a whole bunch of Matt Scherzer was losing it on the mound with the pitch clock. You just got a lot of pent-up frustration, a lot of anger. And these men, you know what they need? They need an area where they can just kind of let go and release. You know, maybe they need a hobby, like fishing or something.
Yeah, or maybe they just need no more pitch clock, right?
I like the pitch clock. Pitch clock's great. Yeah, it's a good. We had 2-hour games as opposed to 3.5. So it's been nice.
Yeah, but at the same time, it makes the time at the ball field a lot shorter. You're trying to hang out with the bros, have a little guy time, and before you know it, game's over, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, me and my father-in-law were at a game, and we showed up a little late. It was like the second, third inning we showed up, and I mean, we got food, chicken tenders. It was, by the time I got food, brought it back, it was like 8th inning. And I'm like, all right, that's exciting.
What's your go-to condiment with a chicken tender?
Oh, honey mustard. Hands down. Hands down.
Well, you can tell, obviously, he's related to me because, let's be honest, honey mustard is one of the best condiments for sure.
We are a ketchup house, though. We go through ketchup like it's soap.
Identify it as yourself speak for yourself because I am a honey mustard person.
And Chick-fil-A sauce. Ashley complains that when she comes over here, there's never mayo in the house. It's always ketchup, Chick-fil-A sauce. Those are our go-tos.
Well, Kurt understands.
Yeah, I like the Chick-fil-A sauce. I'll second that. Second to honey mustard. Depends on which honey mustard, of course.
Yeah, well, we'll speak more about honey mustard on our honey mustard podcast, so definitely tune in. Tell us a little bit about NASCAR. Why do you not think men are interested in NASCAR as much as they used to be?
You know what? I think it's phones. Let me get started on phones. So I think people, especially men, spend a lot of times on phones. And you know what they forget about? Just living a little bit. Go out there, grab a cooler, fill it with whatever you want to. Get a little fresh air, maybe get rained on outside and just watch NASCAR race. You know what I mean? I think you kind of forget to be outside, enjoy the smell of fuel, burning rubber. Instead, you're checking Instagram. You're listening to this podcast. You're doing things to distract you.
You're
right?
wasting your time.
Well,
I mean, you guys are watching cars go in circles over and over and over.
Ovals, but.
How is that?
Learn your shapes,
how is that any
woman.
better than what's going on Instagram? Just gonna throw that up.
What is your favorite sport?
Oh, mine is hockey, without a doubt. I love hockey. I mean, NASCAR being a close second, I would say, but hockey is the best sport. And you know what? I'm just gonna ask a question for you. Why is hockey my favorite sport? I'll tell you why. Great question. So hockey's my favorite sport because there's fighting. It's the only sport that you can just let your frustrations out. And you know what? Half the time, they let it out and then they give each other a nice hug, or they have a little bro moment at the end. So,
Yeah. Well, hugs. You like hugs?
I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the special thing about a man, we'll go straight to it,
Ooh.
is the fact that, 1 second you could be fisticuffs, next second you could just hug it out, just
do
have a
like
moment. It's special. It really is.
Hockey is one of the better sports to watch because it's fast. Like baseball's so slow, but hockey, the action is nonstop. They keep the game moving, which is highly entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can you speak? I wanted to talk one more thing about you and fires. How are you with creating fires? You kind of are notorious about your bonfire skills. So can you share that with our audience?
That's good. So I actually have 2 skill sets when it comes to fires. The first skill set being actually making the fire. So there's 2 levels of fires. There's a basic campfire, which, requires a little bit of tinder, a little wood, maybe a little bit of starter fluid to get it started, and the lighter, right? My strategy is, the whole bottle of lighter fluid, maybe like a quart of gasoline, and let's get this things hot, and let's get this fire huge, right off the bat. The second skill set, which I have, is the fact I can jump over fires. So it's documented. It's on. I mean, at this point, I'm probably YouTube famous.
Yeah, I feel like we need a link to this, Kira. So if you could start working, we have plenty of videos of him jumping fires. So this is true.
Yeah, so I made a lot of money. Most of my, COVID money was made, jumping over fires, just to supplement while there was hard times. So
give the audience a little bit of description about yourself, since we're not on video. They need to understand your jumping abilities, your frame, all that kind of stuff, and how you're able to defy gravity.
Okay, so it's part flamingo, just for the lankiness, just so we can really illustrate the tall, slender, lean legs, right? And then you got a little bit of like cheetah, just straight up, just energy coming from the toes all the way upward, just springing, just leaping on its prey, just right over the fire. I mean, I've jumped, realistically, probably like 4 feet high fires, no problem. And it's a little bit of that, like, I don't know, you had that mama bear here. We'll talk about that. A little bit of mama instincts. Well, I got that fierce, like, dad instincts, right? Like, it's like, I'm not going to die in this fire tonight. I'm gonna clear it. Like, it's going to happen.
I don't think your life insurance covers falling in.
I don't tell them. They'll cancel me. Be careful.
Uh-oh. Could get canceled.
Well, another passion of yours when you're not jumping fires is, well, I don't know if I'd call it a passion, but you're very against short shorts. Can you explain to the audience, what are you afraid of when it comes to short shorts?
Okay, so the short shorts, here's the issue, right? So there is I would say, a regulation when it comes to male shorts. They should be required to be made right at the kneecap. Okay, so the top of the kneecap.
Okay,
and even if you want to go below the kneecap, I'm okay with baggy shorts. There's nothing wrong with that.
Wasn't that like a 90s thing?
Yeah, let's bring it back. I don't see the issue with it, because
like Limp Bizkit kind of era kind of thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, let's break stuff too while we're at it. And truth be
Not
told,
in my closet. Excuse you.
But the truth be told, it gives you a little room when you go to sit. So, what people aren't considering is, even at the top of the kneecaps, you go to sit. I mean, that thing's hiking up your thigh a little bit, right? And the issue is that not only are they short, but they're super tight. Like, what do you have to show off?
When you're jumping your fires, don't you think it would be smarter to have less fabric on your legs, because you would be less flammable?
That's
This guy's already on Amazon buying short shorts as we speak.
Maybe you just have fire jumping shorts, and then you're going out shorts.
Your wife's like, yeah, I see you got your short. Oh, he's got his fire jumping shorts on. You know it's going to be a crazy night. He's like, hey, just hanging out with the boys tonight.
New fire shorts.
But then that's weird, because then the only time you pack your short shorts is when you're going away with the boys, and it's like, why?
All right, what do you say to the audience that, like, let's say every day is leg day, and you've worked really hard to make
and
sure.
you're tan, because you have to be tan.
Yeah,
to
you
wear
have to have
short
tan
shorts.
legs. So let's say you have tan legs. So you put them out in the sun, and you've worked really hard to get like some sculpted legs. Would you want to hide them?
So that's when you go to the pool. Now, let me explain this. This is what you do. You go in the pool, you get a nice little swim, right? You get your lady you're trying to impress to wait by this poolside, right? And what you do is you leap out of the pool because you're probably a strong man. You don't need a ladder to climb or steps. You just leap out of the pool. And I mean, truth be told, those swim trunks, even though they are proper length swim trunks, I want to be clear about that. They are going to hike up a little bit. Water, we'll get some scientists to come in there and explain the reasons. But it's going to hike up a little. You'll get a second to show that off. And then you can be even cooler by putting them back down where they belong. That's the cool part. So it's like a little tease, right?
So don't reveal all the goods.
Nah. You got to tease it.
So I wanted to go into a quick segment, and Kira, you can feel free to join in this rapid fire, but just going to give you a couple rapid fire questions, and you're going to just answer them as quickly as possible. All right? You ready for this?
Oh, I'm born ready.
All right. Your favorite brother. Go.
Oh, that'd be Christian.
Easy. Shoot! Get out of my closet.
Well, only because he's gullible. He's probably the most gullible brother, so he's fun to play with.
All right. Glasses or contacts?
Ooh, okay, glasses. And the reason being
Taking too long. All right, next question.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, you had to pick favorite sport.
Favorite sport, hockey. That's easy.
Favorite team.
Favorite team, the Philadelphia Flyers. And if you are listening at Philadelphia Flyers.
How did that even start? Why for the Flyers?
There's not enough time on this.
Okay, so when I was a little child, it was probably roughly like 9. You had like 2 channels on the TV. I was outside playing street hockey all the time. And I went inside. My dad was watching a game against the New Jersey Devils. And they just started fighting. And I was like, what are you watching, Dad? And he's like, oh, it's hockey. And I was like, who's playing? And he's like, oh, the Flyers are playing the Devils. And it's so grainy. You can hardly make out anything. But you just see this guy bleeding and they're in a big fight. And you're like, oh, this is amazing. This is actual real sport. And I just fell in love from that day. And I was like, this is the roughest team in hockey at the time. And
so it just so happened to be the first team you saw playing hockey.
And the roughest, yes.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Got it. Favorite pastime when you are not leaping fires?
Ooh. Okay, I would say I would split it between 2 things. One would be camping. And, you maybe call it glamping, camping. I mean, I'm not the backpacker with a tent kind of camper, but, nice little travel trailer.
He's got his RV parked in his front yard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a little bit of like high class and low class mixed in together. The other one would be a little fishing, just being outside. That's my hobby, I would say.
Question for you. Why growing up did you always go outside and like dig holes? What was that about?
Okay, so 2 things was I was the one that found all the worms so we could go fishing. We were too poor to get worms. And so it was,
or maybe it's just Dad wanted to save a couple bucks and he knew you loved digging holes.
Well, I mean, the economy was rough back then. Worms were at a sky-high price. So someone had to save the family a little money. So it was for the worms. And the other thing, truth be told, is like I didn't really care. I never had a end goal plan. It was always like, let me just tear down something and then maybe I'll eventually build it. So whether it was digging a hole or tearing apart something, I just had fun deconstructing and or building. It was just a blast. So.
Favorite thing to do, fishing or hunting?
Oh, okay, so I would say fishing just because I'm better at it. I mean, hunting involves me looking at nature at this point. My hunting experience and abilities have been just a lot of close glimpses of cool deer and ducks and everything from far away where I can get them. So.
And last question I have is favorite memory of playing hockey. So you played in a rec league, so favorite memory that you can recall.
Okay, so my favorite memory was one that it's an interesting story because I somewhat remember it and I sometimes don't, so it could be skewed. But the story I do remember was there was this big kid, and we were playing against him. We played on a green team. I forget what the team name was. And every single game he chirped us, and he annoyed the living daylights out of me. I was like, I'm gonna get this kid one game. So there was one game he scored like 3 goals on us. I was playing defense and he was destroying us. So I literally just went for open ice hit, a massive dude, and I wrecked him. I wrecked myself too in the process. And that was the only time I've had so many concussions. The only time I saw stars, and I was like, wow. I was like, I kind of it felt like a train wreck. That's what it felt like.
Well, that was taking one for the team.
Do you know how many concussions you've had?
The I think the official count is 14.
Wait, who's in charge of the official count?
can you
I really
remember?
need to do this. Like, do you have like a dry erase board in your house and like 0 days since last incident?
Well, that's the issue is that I'm the official and I'm the one that's had all the concussions. So it's like, well, it could be unofficial, but I think it's official. So we'll see.
This is great. So we don't even know. We have no clarity on this. Great question, Kira.
Talk about what you guys think has kind of gone off the rails with manhood first.
All right, start it out, Kurt.
So I think it's the complete lack of Bible and spirituality in the male. And what I mean by that is I think that men lead by what they think is best. And so they'll think of what they saw with their parents or their dad and maybe their siblings, and they're going to try to learn and figure things out and make mistakes when the Bible tells you exactly how to do it. It's literally a manual of how to do it. And so I think they're just I can figure it out myself, and I'm doing a good enough job, and I can handle it, and then life is literally crumbling around you. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Call as a man was all about sacrificing for the betterment of everybody else, and instead it's almost the cultural shift of us being able to find comfort, relax, do what we want to do when we want to do it, and we haven't earned anything, so we kind of lose our manhood in that way. We're getting a little lazy, a little lackluster, so kind of getting demotivated a little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah, lost. You guys were talking about how work ethic has kind of gone out the window a little bit.
Yeah, what have you seen? So, Kurt, you've been in the work world, just as long as me since we were teenagers and stuff. Have you noticed a shift kind of in the office? Where you're at now?
Yes. So my coworkers will know that there is just a honest lack of ethic. Work ethic completely. They don't care. It's a bare minimum. Let's get the job done. Just the bare minimum to collect my paycheck and get home. And there's no pride in it. The pride is gone. Absolute pride of work is just, completely out of the work world when it comes to men. And it used to be, you take pride, maybe too much pride, where let me work 14 hours a day and, try to make every little penny. And there was maybe a point where it led to arrogance. But I think now it's the complete opposite. I think there is no pride in your work ethic or your work ability to put in the extra mile. And especially those that are Christians, right? Like our job as men, as Christian men, is to be that example, is to have the work ethic be a reflection of God. And that's just something that is very rare in the workplace.
Well, I was going to piggyback off that too, is how many... So there's two ways to look at it. How many men are in the wrong career or in the wrong job, and so they're complaining about it. And it's like, okay, well, find something that you're a little more gifted in. Find something you have a little more passion, where you come alive. So, find that job and put in the work to get that job. So I think that's a little bit of it. And then also, to your point, I think there's another side of this toxic negativity, just always focusing on the bad, always focusing on the other side of what you'd rather be doing instead of just focusing on the blessing that work is, right?
Oh, yeah. You're 100% right. I think you have to, it's not always fully about like loving your job, but it's finding like a purpose. And I think part of that purpose goes back into, being an example. Sometimes you're there not for the work, but for the people you're working with. And I think that's forgotten a lot, is that we are there to literally serve. Maybe it's your manager, maybe it's your manager's manager, your coworkers, people on other teams, right? Within your office. That's what we're there for. And you can find purpose, maybe not in the day-to-day tasking, but maybe just in working with the people and being a light to them, bringing a little excitement, right? So I think it's very important to find some purpose and to be a spiritual light in that as well.
And I think from a female perspective, we've seen a little bit of a rise in so-called feminism. I mean, I'm going to use that word loosely, but because there's been a lack of drive and an overall sense of laziness from the men, then the woman's like, well, if he's not taking care of it and he's not getting it done, then like somebody's got to do it. Like I can't let this stuff just get, go undone or not, not get anything accomplished. So then you see the women having to step up in ways that they were never intended. They were supposed to be a complement, a support, an encourager. But when the man isn't fulfilling his work ethic and doing his job, it kind of puts the woman in a awkward position to really have to step into a role that she's not supposed to be in.
Well, and going off that, that's why I was suggesting, like, find a job you're passionate in. I wonder if the rise of intangible work, and let me define that. What I mean by intangible work is now we live in the digital age where it's hard to quantify or see the work being done. So we've gotten away from trades. We've gotten away from things where you can work with your hands, where you can see the progress. And now we're going to this digital age. And I wonder if that's kind of hitting men hard, because you put in 8 hours and, you know, you're like, okay, I cleared out 60 emails, but it's not the same satisfaction as you know, other things can provide.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't see necessarily what you're accomplishing, so it feels a little bit deflating. What was another thing your dad taught you guys when you were younger that was valuable into your adulthood?
Get it, Cam.
Did we ever take a car to the mechanic?
I have a couple times, because I was at the point where I was about to just set them on fire and claim insurance.
Well, that was kind of fun. I remember growing up, and our dad always, I mean, we built, well, I don't want to say he built a garage on his own, and we kind of helped, but I mean, the age we were, I don't know if we were more of a help or a liability, but watching him do that, always, you know, he always worked on his cars, so it was kind of natural for us as we grew up to just kind of follow in the same footsteps. If something broke, try to figure it out, right, and want to repair it ourselves and feel that sense of accomplishment.
So in my house, whenever something broke, we had to call in the professionals. My dad didn't even unclog the toilets. So we would have like clogged toilets for like 3 days. So I feel like something that's valuable that you guys learned from your dad
Is
was
how to
like
unclog a toilet?
how to do like basic oil changes and changing light bulbs and like things that
changing light bulbs. Let me tell you how to change a light bulb. So you need 3 people. You have one person.
You
climb
joke
the
about
ladder.
it, but like a lot of men don't know how to do very basic tasks.
I wasn't done yet. A lot of people want to know this. So one person, you get a ladder and 3 men. The one person climbs to the top of the ladder. The other 2 spin the ladder in a counterclockwise direction while he grabs the light bulb. That's how you unscrew it, and then they unscrew it back in. They got to go in a
Okay, but how do you
direction.
know which color, which voltage? I mean, it's like you make it sound simple, but like a lot of people don't know like the basic knowledge of like there's
You want to
things
crack an
to
egg of
it.
knowledge on people about lumens.
What if you come home with like a blue
wattage?
light and then, or it's like not the right power? I'm just saying. So it's like a lost art of men learning how to do some like basic necessities on cars, houses, all of that.
Well,
thing.
and you learn because you fail. And so, Kurt, please, for the love, tell the story about the Escort when you accidentally changed the engine oil or something.
Oh, okay. This is a good story. So I think it was the first time I was doing the oil change, and I believe I was probably 15. I don't think I was old enough to even drive at that point. I just bought this car, and I was busy tinkering with it. And I was like, the first thing I want to do is do an oil change. So I dumped all the oil, what I thought, and I proceeded to put, what was due. I remember it to this day. It was 5 quarts of oil, and I put 5 quarts of oil in it. And me and Cameron took a ride. I was like, well, yeah, let's take a ride. We had it all cleaned up, oil change. We were ready to cruise. So we take it down for a ride. We get a little smoke. I mean, it started off a little, but it really was. And I remember Cameron, he looked over at me and he said, is this supposed to do that? And I was like, oh, yeah, you got to burn, you got the new oil. You got a little bit of the old oil. I might not have like wiped it off with the oil pan or something. I was like, it's normal for it to smoke a little bit. Well, that smoke looked like a gosh darn diesel. I mean, we were rolling coal. I mean, it was so much smoke. And so at this point, we were pretty far away. I remember where we were. We were a good like 5-6 miles away from the house. I was like, well, heck, we got to get this thing back home. So we just rolled the coal all the way back home. Come to find out, I'd actually drained the transmission fluid, and we had about 10 quarts of oil in a car that really only needed 5. So we had 0 transmission fluid. It was great.
So if you're rolling coal and you're in a little 2 or 4 door sedan, you should kind of question your mechanic.
Yep. Check your oil, check your
point.
transmission fluid.
So we were kind of talking about the workforce and changing your oil and being a little bit more of a fixer. But that kind of leads us a little bit to parenting, and I know one of the topics we're going to talk about is talking about men's role at a playground and their involvement in children. But I think talking about like playgrounds and stuff, I don't know if you're noticing the same thing. We're noticing either the lack of involvement of men or they're just not as present. But what have you noticed and what have you picked up on, Kurt, from all your times hanging out with your kids?
Okay, so I have a parent or a father of 3. And with that being said, a lot of the times I'm at the park, I'm busy. I got a little 2-year-old. I got 2 9-year-olds now. I mean, you got the 9-year-olds doing things. They're pretty independent. Then you got the 2-year-old doing things that you're just like, whoa, please don't climb there. Please don't do that. You're going to get hurt. Watch out for this. And so I'm busy. And you'll look around in the playground, and 90 to 95% of the parents there are either aren't there or they are the moms. There are like never a dad. I've seen actually a few dads which I could question maybe they're their grandfather. I'm not sure. But with that being said, most of the kids will go up to me because they don't have a father figure to play with. And they'll be like, hey, will you help me get here? Or will you push me on the swing? And I mean, in this day and age, I mean, I don't want to because I really don't want to get, like it's just weird if you're just, having more than just a simple conversation with a kid. Like I just don't want to be involved. And so I'm like, we need more men to be at the playground, be out there with a soccer ball, to be out there with a football, teaching these kids how to play baseball, anything, right? Out there at the parks playing with their kids. And I think the woman's role is to nurture, to take care of, and I think to also have fun. But I think a man's role is to teach and to develop and grow. And I think, at a playground, let them get some energy out. Teach them how to be imaginary, how to play, and picture that they're on a pirate ship, whatever it may be, right? Give them a little excitement in their life. Set them up for their future. That way they can learn, hey, you know what? I learned how to climb this, and I learned how to swing by myself, and give them some achievements to accomplish, right?
Yeah.
It was literally just today. We had a little neighborhood kid on our swing. He's maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. And he didn't know how to swing. And Cam's like taught him how to pump his legs. It's like, you don't see a lot of that these days. Like you don't see the dads being out there, being hands-on, teaching them, playing with them, laughing with them. It's just, that's another lost art.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, the temptation there is, I mean, we can relate with other men too. You get done a job, you get home, you're tired, you just want to relax. Nowadays we want to play on our phones, whatever we want to do, just something to veg and chill out. And then you come home and your kids want to do this, they want to do that, and you just don't have the energy. And for me, it's always kind of humbling to think about how short of the amount of time is that I have with these kids before they're long gone. And so there's only, if you're lucky, 17 years of memories, 18 years maybe. And so each day it feels super long, but then the years fly by. And so I kind of keep perspective.
Well, and it doesn't have to be a lot too. Like just playing with your kid for like 30 minutes, and it's good for you because you've probably been sitting on your butt all day. So it's like, get out there, get some movement. Like it's good for everybody involved. And I think it's rewarding to see how like their faces light up and the relationship that you build with them. I think that gives you so much more than if you were to just miss out on some of those moments. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a ton. Like we're not talking like, it's like just find a little time every day to be intentional with your kids.
Agreed. And so also putting, your needs or your family's needs in front of yours and kind of, you got any ideas, Kurt, on how to make that shift? I know you work long days and then you get home and you're waking up super early and now your kids are coming off the bus. Like, how do you find the energy and the time to kind of keep up with your kids?
Okay, so disclaimer, credit to Ashley, my wife. I was the worst at it.
Smart move.
Yeah, thank you. So I was literally the worst person at this. Like I could be out there, let's just say, working on the car. I'm doing an oil change. Ashley's like, hey, can you keep your eyes on Sienna? I'm like, sure. Sienna, the 2-year-old, is literally probably wandering out in traffic. I have no idea because I'm just focused on this oil change. I'm very mission
He's too busy draining the transmission oil.
Yeah, so that was the old Kurt. The old Kurt. It was crazy. I was so mission focused, I would forget about my family and the kids. And the new Kurt is what he's trying to do is saying, hey, you know what? Let's focus on the kids first. If it's 8:30 and I got to go do an oil change out there in the dark with a headlamp on, let's do it, right? Because I need to make sure that I pay attention to my kids' needs, and my needs and or the car needs or whatever comes secondary, right? And I'm not saying you have to do it all the time. There's times where I'll say, hey, Ashley, you got to watch all the kids. This has to get done. But it's important to say, you know what? This can wait, right? And that's something that I've had to learn over the years is just say, you know what, this moment right here with my kids playing with them or teaching them something. Heck, the other day I was doing brakes. And I was in the middle of like my third wheel. I had the wheel off, the car jacked up, working on the brakes. And then Carolina came over, and she asked me, she was like, how old can I help? And I said, sure. The old Kurt would have been like, no, you're going to slow me down. The new Kurt was like, yeah, come over here. I'm going to teach you how to do this. And she loved it. She was glowing the whole time, just so excited to learn, right?
Well, and honestly, with the family that you have, if you next time you need your brakes done, if you had each kid on one wheel, you could get it done really fast.
That's the end goal. And the one thing we learned the other day is I was washing the cars, right? And Ashley was supposed to watch the kids. But they all wanted to help. So I was like, you know what? Let's get them all to help. And the one thing we learned is the little 2-year-old Sienna, she's amazing at cleaning a car. I mean, I gave her a rag to wash the car with, and I had her on wheels. And when I say the wheels were just disgusting, by the time she was done washing them, I found one like little section that she missed on all 4 wheels. It was impressive. Yeah. So we're going to be starting a Rogers car cleaning services 2024.
What did you guys use? What was your old car wash company called?
Thunder.
Thunder Cleaning Crew or Thunder Car Care. Yeah, we had a little side hustle.
Yeah, side hustle.
The Big Thunder.
It almost got to the point where I was making more money on my lunch breaks on that side hustle than I was making at my actual day job.
You guys have always had side hustles, cleaning houses. You've done it all.
Oh, yeah, we're not afraid to get our hands dirty, right? Well, that's a testament to our dad always teaching us, like, just a work ethic, right? And just get involved, get dirty. The one quick thing I wanted to share is I read this great book called Atomic Habits. It's I think it's one of the New York Times, or I don't know what list. Maybe it's on Barnes & Noble's list or something, but it was pretty cool. But he talked about getting into habits, and when I hearing you talk, Kurt, I'm kind of motivated to go, okay, make that shift from what you want to get done and give your kids attention or give your spouse attention. But everybody's like, well, where do I start? Well, Atomic Habits teach you just start a couple minutes, right? Okay, step away from the brake job, 2 minutes. Step away from your video games, 2 minutes. And just say, hey, want to spend time with you. Just want to talk real quick. And just start small and then watch it continue to grow and grow and grow, and watch your spouse appreciate it, watch your kids appreciate it, and let that snowball effect take out. So I just thought that was a really cool lesson. But further ado, I'm going to let Kira introduce this segment, which I'm kind of pumped about.
What do women want to know? Oh, okay. I've been thinking about this. Dun. If I could ask a man anything? All right.
If I ask a man something.
The first question or the first thought that came to my mind was, when does a man know that he's ready to have kids?
Oh, God. Kurt, have fun with that one.
Pass. Is that like a game show where I can just
phone a friend? I'll take my lifeline, please.
When the kid is 2 and potty trained, that's when they realize that they're ready for kids.
How do you know you're ready and is a man ever ready to have kids?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I would second that. I don't think until the day you actually see the physical kid, you're not ready. You have no idea.
So I agree with that, and I also think that's our love and affection towards our spouse, is that we kind of usually I feel like a lot of, I don't know. Do you feel like women kind of want kids sooner than men?
I think we're so busy being awesome husbands that we're just like, you know what? We want to, instead of it's hard to think of not being able to give 100% for my wife, right? And then now you have to split it. Now it's like a 75-25 ratio. So I think that's,
I really thought you were going to go in a different direction. Like, I'm just too busy jumping fires and changing out my transmission oil that I just don't have time.
Well, you need the money. That's what I'm saying. 100% thought process. I'm jumping over fires for Ashley. That's what I did for.
But I do agree in the fact that until the baby is actually here. So, currently, Kira, you've been pregnant for what feels like forever.
20,000 years. For 20,000 years.
You were breaking the news, Kurt. She's pregnant.
You guys didn't tell me how.
I also realized I said her name at the beginning of this podcast, but whatever.
So for us, it doesn't become real till it's there, and then you're sitting on this god awful couch that's not even suitable as a bed, and you're getting interrupted by 17 nurses taking rotations to make sure you only get 1 hour of sleep, and that's when it becomes real.
All right, I have 2 more questions. This one won't be related to kids, but the last one is. First one is, what is the best thing a spouse can do to show their husband respect?
Okay, so this is a 2-step answer. The first one is the man needs to earn that. Okay, so not every man deserves respect, and what I mean by that kind of goes along with what you guys were saying earlier in regards. I think it was Kim about if you're busy focusing on yourself and you're not really worried about your family, you're not worried about your spouse and everything like that, and you haven't led your family the proper way, you don't really deserve all that respect, right? And that's when the woman has to kind of take charge and everything. But with the, let's just, you're using me as an example, right? The trophy husband and father, right? And with that being said, I would say the best thing would be 2 things. One is by having conversations, but making the male feel like maybe their idea was like a great idea, like an affirmation. And also, I think the second thing is being able to correct them when they need to be corrected. And so actually, you're actually showing respect by teaching the male, because sometimes for us, it's like we don't want to always have the answer. Sometimes we need the help. And by the wife or the woman stepping in, it kind of tells us, okay, like we don't have to do this all completely on our own, right? But it takes humility. And I think for a male, when you truly when you can kind of get there, you have to be able to be humble. And that's when you can excel.
Well, and like piggybacking off that, I remember early in our marriage, if I did something and Kira, you had an issue with it, you would call me out. And I remember very early on, talk about a feeling of disrespect. I feel like we said, I told you very early on, make sure you pull me aside, one-on-one conversation, right? So if you see something, you know how they always say in the Metro, if you see something, say something. I kind of feel like a way to show disrespect is, you see something and then like call your husband or, out in public is super embarrassing. So a sign of respect is to pull them aside, go, hey, I love, hey, you're jumping too many fires. And I'm nervous about your shorts getting on fire, and so just pull you aside one-on-one. And the other thing is how many times do we words of affirmation? You kind of alluded to that, Kurt. How many times in this culture and in the media they kind of reflect men as being lazy, stupid, dumb, and the woman has to run the show. Well, we should be applauded to some degree, not too much, right? Because our egos will go through the roof. But we should be encouraged when if your spouse or significant other sees something that they like, a quick word of affirmation can go a long way.
That's good. All right, last question, and then we'll go into our unpopular opinion segment. What is your favorite part of being a dad?
Okay, so my favorite part of being a dad, honestly, is that I get to be a kid again. And the coolest thing that the kids have taught me is to just let loose and do stupid things, right? And so I remember early on when the twins were born. I mean, they were 2 or 3 at this point at least, and we set up the tarp, put soap on it, and we just did a slip and slide, old-fashioned style, and we had the time of our lives. We're all cracking up and just laughing and goofing, and I don't get to let loose too often. At least when it was just Ash and I, it's like I never let loose. I always had to be the man and be strong and make decisions and be all serious,
all grown up.
Yeah, and you get to have fun with your kids and be a kid, and it's exciting. So
yeah, you actually kind of stole mine. I mean, I was thinking the same thing, like jumping in puddles, just doing stupid stuff. It's kind of fun. But I would definitely say coming home and there's nothing like having your kids run up to you, give you a big hug, and be excited when you come home from work. That is the best.
Well, and I think that's part of the payoff of being an intentional parent and spending time with your kid, noticing them, asking them questions, being involved, is that then, yes, they are genuinely excited to see you. And that's a very rewarding feeling, I would think.
Yeah, I hope they never outgrow that. And then second of them, watching them achieve something cool. So both of our kids are getting into sports, gymnastics. So watching them just go out there and give it their all is just
Cheerleading.
fun.
Abigail, we're sorry. Cheerleading. You always say gymnastics. She likes cheerleading.
Well, she started there and then she went to cheerleading.
She does not like gymnastics.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, unpopular opinion. Kurt, you're our guest, so you get to start with your unpopular opinion.
Towards
All right.
men.
So, as I know listeners can't see us, but I'm going to give you the way I look, which is I'm going to explain it to you. I'm follically challenged, okay? So I decided to keep my hair very short because I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't have anything to show off. I'm just showing off a widow's peak and a bald spot in the back of my head. So why not just keep it short? Act like, you know what, I don't have hair, just commit to the hair loss. With that being said, there is a bit of a bias, right? But I can't stand the man buns, okay? And here's where it gets worse, is when they have girly things in their hair to hold up the man bun. And what I mean by that is like, you're using these, like, you could just tell, like, a woman, maybe your wife bought them, and that's the only thing you can find sitting over by the kitchen, not the kitchen, the bathroom sink, and you did up your hair that morning, and maybe it's like a cheetah print with pink colors, and it's like, wait, really?
You mean like a headband or whatever?
Yeah, whether a headband or a little hair tie, like, you literally found the girliest thing you could do. So not only is the man bun girly, right, I think it's honestly a girly thing. When we think of like Jesus on the cross, like manly man, we think hair coming down, you kind of like, I don't know, you think of kind of Rambo and Chuck Norris and the hair.
He's got his turret gun and his shotgun shells on his chest.
The mullet. Okay, so why the best hairstyles for a man are hair being long and down, not up. So let women have their buns and whatever, all their ponytails and stuff. The men have to commit to just let it flow. Let it flow.
I actually went on a sales call one time in a past life, and the guy had long flowing hair. It was amazing. It was awesome.
Beautiful.
And he's like, hang on one second. He went to his office and grabbed the most like girliest headband and put it on. And then he's like, all right, what do you want to talk to me about? I was like,
I think the man bun is a very specific turn on. Like, I'm gonna poll my Instagram audience on how many women like the man bun, but it's like I feel like it's just like a select few that are like, oh man, this man bun really does it for me. But the majority, I would say, if I had to go out on a limb, I would say they're not into it.
So yeah, man bun or not. So my unpopular opinion is the way media portrays men, and I hate it. I hate it for multiple reasons. One, portrays men as lazy, portrays them as stupid. It portrays them that all we're for is our six packs and our biceps and stuff. And I know, good thing this isn't on video because you should see the amount of biceps and six packs there are in this closet right now.
Oh, can I set down my 60-pound weight over here? Is that okay? I don't want to get in Kira's clothes.
I don't know if you noticed, but I just bench pressed 350 pounds 100 times while we were doing this whole podcast. But I get so annoyed because it's either we're supposed to be super groomed to the nine, like we just got done being at the salon for like all these like dating shows or whatever, like what was one with Love is Blind or whatever. It's like all these guys look like they just came out of like an 8-hour salon session. It's like, dude, they get a job. Or it's the whole, okay, the man just sits around, does nothing, twiddles his thumb, or it's like, so they're just useless, right? And all those kind of perceptions on how the media portrays men just pisses me off. So I'm not happy with the media. Forget you, media. Don't like you.
So what are you trying to say? Men have feelings too?
Men have a little bit of everything. We have feelings. Maybe sometimes we like to lift. Maybe sometimes we just want lean muscle, right? Maybe I don't need to spend 8 hours.
Let's talk about men in workout classes. We don't have to. That's a whole other topic. But for some reason, it's frowned upon for a man to go to a group workout class. He should be downstairs throwing weights around. But I'm like, some of these classes, now not all of them, some of them are for slackers, but a lot of these classes are harder than if you were to just go downstairs and lift weights. So I don't understand that one. But
we call that ego lifting, and that's almost gets too masculine to the point where it's like, okay, you're only good as your muscles are, and that's kind of like those dating shows that I was talking to you about. It's too, we look like we just got done a salon, and all I have the chance to do is just eat creatine and shred, bro. And it's like I don't have that much time. I have to raise kids. I have a job to do. Like I have more things about me. So, but what about you, Kira? What's your unpopular opinion towards men? And keep it short, because I don't want you to rip in on men for like an hour.
I have a lot of opinions about men, but I will say this will surprise you. My unpopular opinion is that when women get together, they should not bash their husbands to each other.
Oh, man, give it.
You're
give
welcome.
It to me.
I don't like.
Amen, sister.
Yeah, it's just I feel like it causes resentment in relationships. If you have an issue, I feel this way about anybody. It's not just men. It's about women too. If you have a problem, go to the source, talk to them about it, work it out. I hate gossip. I hate drama. So I don't like when women just get together and bash their men. I feel like it's degrading and it does not uplift a marriage. And I feel like if you want to have a healthy, strong marriage, then you need to be a good support and encouragement to your partner.
Hey, that was beautiful. And honestly, that goes for us men, right? Same thing. We over-sexualize women in private. We talk crap
Locker
about
room
them,
talk.
belittle them, locker room talk. It's garbage. It's malarkey.
Hey, Cam, you mind if I chime in with a second unpopular opinion? Never been done on
Wow.
a podcast.
Woo.
Never
Breaking.
been done.
Yeah, let's go for it. Second, because you're our guest.
So the only thing that I guess can be soft on a man, okay?
Oh, no.
I know
Let that stew for a little bit. Okay, not hair. Not hands. Definitely not hands. That's a worse. When you get a male handshake and it's super soft, you're like, what is that? It's okay to get a pedicure. I'm
agree.
saying it's okay.
Wow.
Because you know what? I will say from, no offense to Ashley, but she doesn't like feet. Neither do I, right? But it is the greatest feeling just to be nurtured a little bit on your feet. To get them soft baby feet. It's amazing. That's the only thing that I would say as a maybe unpopular opinion, but we're going to trend that towards a popular opinion. I think right now we just changed 100 people's minds.
But how do you feel about men painting? You're just talking about getting your feet groomed,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Do you get it painted or not?
Great question. So the first time I got my pedicure, that I bought this like deluxe or whatever package, and part of that, I didn't know this, they included painting, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't want that. I just wanted the massage part, because you had to pay that same price to get the massage and all the other junk. You get the hot towels and everything. Yeah. And they literally pulled out one of those, like, I don't know, booklets or whatever with all the colors. And I looked at that lady.
It's like you're at Sherwin-Williams. What color? This is the color of the year.
Yeah, I was like, hard pass. I was like, she's like, do you want me to do a clear coat? I was like, no. I was like so offended. I was like, how dare you? So no. I don't think, like I said, just soft. I didn't say anything about colored or anything like that. That's for women.
And this is saying something. This is the man that jumps fires, so he's willing to get a pedicure, folks. So.
Well, he can't be jumping fires with hot pink toenails.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, and if you got him
True.
painted, that's definitely a fire hazard for sure.
Yeah.
Highly flammable. Along with long shorts, though, you are going to wear your short shorts when you're jumping fires. That's the one way you could be on trend.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap up, we just want to thank our guest, Kurt. Thank you for coming into the closet with us.
Thanks for coming to the
This is
closet,
a great
Kurt.
closet. And actually, when we wrap this up, we're actually going to change that light bulb that's out. So, we got the ladder and we got the 3 people here. We're ready to go.
Do you know what wattage it is?
I have no idea. I just know it's probably, we're going to put in there a cool white. I hate that like super, like orangey light. We're going to definitely get it nice and bright.
Oh, there we go. Well, thank you, Kurt, for joining us. And thank you all for listening to our podcast about men.
If you want to hear more, you can like or subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram at Kira Nicole Photography. My DMs are always open, and we will catch you guys later. See ya.
Thanks for listening to Living Life with the Rogers with Cameron and Kira.
You can find us over on Instagram at Kira Nicole Photography. We post a lot on there and are always checking messages and comments. And if you want to hear future episodes, make sure you subscribe or follow. Catch you guys next time.
Fall 2023. New release of Fire Pants. The new Fire Pants. You can leap, jump, hurl yourself over any fire. Order yours, Fire Pants. Developed by the only Kurt Rogers.